the game, cause see the boxing voice.
Welcome back, gang, for the first time and hopefully many more to come. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and click on the notifications right here, this little bell, so you can get those emails every time we go live. Spencer Fearon on the line. Spence, what's going on, brother?
What's going on, Spencer? How's it going, sir?
Man, we're here talking Tony Bellew saying that Deontay Wilder is the worst champion in history. Technically.
The worst champion in history.
Technically, he's saying he's the worst champion in history. He's a one-trick pony. Even though that one trick is fantastic, he's been exposed on the elite level.
Well, if you go up against Tyson Fury can expose most people on that world elite level. What's happened with Deontay Wilder is he's made himself become a one-trick pony, because in the first Romain-Stiverne fight, he showed us that he wasn't a one-trick pony because he actually boxed through orders, and stylistically, he didn't look bad. But I think, whereas he's so used to getting a knockout, Deontay Wilder in his mindset, I just want to knock dudes out, man, because that's the entertainment and everything else. And then he's regressed in his talents because, you know, I remember seeing like Steve Harvey saying something really derogatory about Mark Breland. And what he's got to remember is Mark Breland is one of US boxing's most decorated amateurs ever. Right? Ever. So, and at the time when he won the gold medal in '84, just look at the Olympic squad that America produced then. That's got to be like one of America's greatest teams. You have to go like the 76 Olympics, when you had Ray Leonard on it, the Spinks brothers. That was a great team. Very, very good team. You know what I mean? But you know, and Howard Davis Jr. on that team as well, got the Val Barker Trophy for being the most outstanding boxer. That was an incredible team. But we have to be realistic and say like '84 team was absolutely bad. And he medaled and got a gold medal then, and everybody was looking at him as this renowned character. Okay, people say, well, he didn't accomplish what he should have accomplished as a professional fighter when he signed with the Duvers, right? And main event. But check this one out. He was a two-time world champion, so nobody can sneeze at that. So he must know something, number one. But then number two, Deontay Wilder, stylistically, body shape-wise, is very similar to Mark Breland. And what Deontay Wilder demonstrated to me in that first Romain-Stiverne fight, and Romain-Stiverne was hot then. He wasn't not a hot guy. He was hot. He boxed to orders. He boxed behind the jab, and he showed me something. So I understand where he's coming from, Tony Bellew's coming from. But is he worse than Primo Carnera? Primo Carnera is most probably the worst heavyweight, one of the worst guys.
That's what I said at the show.
Okay.
For Primo.
Great minds. Nes, great minds, man. Come on, great minds.
But was he a champion, though? No, Ron said that.
I said Primo. I brought up Primo.
Yeah, Primo was world heavyweight champion.
Oh. So listen, is it fair of Tony Bellew to have these types of comments, especially publicly, when he was a heavyweight, had multiple heavyweight fights, was offered the Deontay Wilder fight, said he would fight Deontay Wilder, met Deontay Wilder, and ultimately said he's too big for me to fight? I mean, that's a clear duck. So, like, if you're afraid to fight someone in your own division, how could you call them the worst champion? With a straight face.
Let's be realistic, yeah? He wasn't a heavyweight, Tony Bellew. Tony Bellew just saw opportunity because of the beef between himself and David Haye to take a chance and say, let me fight at heavyweight. But realistically, he didn't fight nobody else. There was Dylan White. He didn't fight Dylan White. He just chose.
But Spencer, if we're being realistic, a guy coming in at 210 pounds is not a heavyweight either, right?
No. But the difference is this: he's competed against bigger men, so he understands what it's like to compete. Tony Bellew turned professional as a light heavyweight, even though he's a heavyweight in the amateurs, but turned professional as a light heavyweight, right? That's 175 pounds. So we've got to be realistic in that to say, okay, then the transgression in Tony Bellew isn't that to say that he's competing at the higher weight classes. Then he moved to cruiserweight and got that fantastic win against Makabu. But off of the back of that, we cannot say Tony Bellew was a heavyweight, regardless that Deontay Wilder was a small heavyweight. But is kind of weird. It's like, I don't know if he's got hollow bones or anything, but he's a big guy. There's a picture of him and Bellew stood together. It was like he looked like Andre the Giant compared to Tony Bellew.
Now, can I ask you a quick question in comparisons of, like, people talk about his technique isn't great. Rocky Marciano was a guy who was criticized for fighting really ugly and didn't have a great technique, but people put him as a really great champion. Well, what's your thoughts about Rocky Marciano back then and his technique and compared to Deontay Wilder?
You know what? I could speak a lot about Rocky Marciano. Rocky Marciano was my guy. For the things that Rocky Marciano stood for, you know, come on, you got to give Rocky Marciano all the dues in the world, all the credit in the world, right? But if you look at the time from when Marciano became world heavyweight champion, when he knocked out Joe Walcott, he was actually losing that fight.
Yep.
Right? Joe Walcott was doing him. Joe Walcott was outboxing him. And at the time, Joe Walcott was 37 years old. And at that time, it's not like now, it's totally different, right? But at that time, Joe Walcott was an old man. You just got to be real and look at it on his realness. Joe Walcott was an old man who previously they knocked out, Joe Walcott knocked out Ezra Charles, right?
Yep.
Ezra Charles, my guy, but Ezra Charles was actually a light heavyweight. Ezra Charles' great fights were at light heavyweight. Let's not get twisted on this one, right? Ezra Charles should have been in the murderer's role, but he moved up to heavyweight and got a world title shot, right? And became world champion when he beat Joe Louis.
Yeah, Joe Louis was old. Archie Moore was a smaller guy moving up, and he was older too.
Yeah, but even then, but you gotta think about it. When Rocky Marciano beat Joe Louis, Rocky Marciano knew that he was fighting an old guy who was trying to continue fighting because of tax problems.
Yep.
Ezra Charles was a pick. Ezra Charles was a pick. Ezra Charles when Rocky Marciano fought him. Let's be real. Because if you go back to like 1940. Or 1943, when Ezra Charles was mixing and fighting guys like Charlie Burley, when he's fighting guys like Homer Williams, when he's fighting guys like Charlie Burley, of that guy there, that was a dangerous guy. That was a supremely polished athlete. And if you look back in history, like if you read like the old Ring magazine, at that time they would say like this guy like one of the best, stylistically one of the best fighters ever.
Yes, sir.
Rocky Marciano, because Rocky Marciano won a big heavyweight. So I'm not knocking Rocky Marciano. Rocky Marciano was still great because of the style of how he fought. He fought stylistically. That was appeasing to the eye because he was looking to smash you and knock you out. There went no playing with Rocky Marciano.
So with that being said, with like Deontay Wilder, like when you bring the techniques together,
it's not the same. It's not the same because even though like technically certain things didn't look too right with Rocky Marciano, he was given a free pass because he was a shorter guy. He fought out of a crouch style. If you look at the guys that fought in the 40s and the 50s, right, they'd fight from a crouch style. If it was that orthodox fighter, you'd be leaning back on your right leg to make yourself a smaller target, so you get hit by the jab or a right hand. It'd be harder to get hit by a right hand. Fighters that were a little bit more upright and more, they're more in your face now. Rocky Marciano would lean from that side angle and he'd throw in those big winging shots. But one thing for sure, Rocky Marciano was a fantastic puncher. He's ridiculous, but his puncher power was ridiculous.
Well, I want to change gears real quick and talk about one of my favorite fighters. We haven't had you on since his victory. Chris Eubank looked pretty impressive against James Degale, and I want to get your thoughts on that fight and the fact that James Degale announced his retirement last week.
We have to give all credit in the world to James Degale. James Degale was a Olympic gold medalist, and James Degale was a British and European and a two-time world champion. Right? Even though a lot of us would sit down and say, well, you should never have lost to Truex in the first place. But regardless of that, he's a two-time world champion as well. All the credit.
Is he a Hall of Famer?
Is James Degale a Hall of Famer? No, he'll be a British Hall of Famer, but no, he's not a Hall of Famer. Right now, he's not. But
Olympic gold medalist, two-time world champion. That does not qualify as a Hall of Famer.
No. What I'm trying to say to you at the time, no. What I'm trying to say, he's a British Hall of Famer right now. Only time will tell, because what we got to you got to compare it to of the super middleweights of the time. How does he match up to a Roy Jones Jr.? How does he match up to a Andre Ward? How does he match up to a Joe Kawasaki? No, those names that I've just thrown out there, they are all-timers. Because not only were they all-timers, but they were highly ranked on the pound-for-pound list. James Degale was not ranked highly on the pound-for-pound global list. He ranked highly on the pound-for-pound British list. He wasn't ranked highly on the pound-for-pound global list.
Yeah, I agree. Because Donald Curry was someone that didn't get in the Hall of Fame for a long time. I mean, he won titles in like 3-4 divisions.
Who's Donald Curry?
Yeah, he just got.
No. Donald Curry won titles in 2 divisions. He was,
I think welterweight and light middleweight, right?
Yeah, and junior middleweight. Yeah, junior middleweight, super middleweight, as they call it now, right?
Yeah.
But that's who he won his 2 titles at. But we got to be realistic and say, like, Donald Curry, when Donald Curry was the reigning 147 champion, nobody in the world wanted to call that guy's name. Donald Curry was absolutely fantastic. He was superb. He was an incredible amateur fighter as well. I think he had 143 fights and lost 3 or something like that. Lost 3 or 5 fights. But he was an incredible amateur as well. And he was so polished. He was so polished. Nicknamed the Cobra for good reason. And the night that he knocked out Milton McCory in 1985, man, that was ridiculous.
And then there was an upset. Then the UK came in and beat him. Lloyd.
Yeah, we're talking about Lloyd Hannigan, right? And what was that? That was September 23rd, 1986. 23rd or 25th, I think, right? Lloyd Hannigan used to live down the road from me, so like we know Lloyd. That when we're looking at that and we're saying, oh, it was a fantastic upset, most probably the biggest upset done by a British boxer. If we look at it properly now, Lloyd Hannigan at the time was British, Commonwealth, and European champion going into that fight. And he was unbeaten. Lloyd Hannigan, prior to becoming, he knocked out a guy called Joe Franco Rossi. Joe Franco Rossi was an absolutely superb fighter, and Lloyd Hannigan knocks him out in a couple rounds. Lloyd Hannigan was the real deal. So when we look at it and think, wow, that was a massive upset. It was a massive upset. But now if we look at it in these real parallels, the people behind Lloyd Hannigan at the time knew that Donald Curry had weight problems, knew that Donald Curry used to like to party. Many times the fight was proposed to happen and they'll cancel the fight deliberately. Mickey Duff is a very, very smart man. He's like an all-timer, Hall of Famer, boxing manager promoter from the UK. He's very, very smart in what he did. Right? Everything's timing in this game. But still not to take away nothing from what Lloyd Hannigan did, because what Lloyd Hannigan did was absolutely amazing, because he took it to Donald Curry like it was nothing, and he beat Donald Curry. So fair play. He stopped him in 6 rounds.
Real quick, back to James Degale. Does this win propel Chris Eubank Jr.? Does it just keep him on the same level that he's at, and he's going to have another signature victory?
Well, the thing about it is this: it's like, there was a lot of pressure put on Chris Eubank Jr. because he puts a lot of pressure on himself, right? His dad hasn't helped neither, right? Which I speak to his dad quite regularly. His dad's my guy. But we have to be realistic and say, okay, then, within the fraternity of boxing, and if you go look, and I posted it the other day on my Instagram, Mark Prince, the former WBO international champion, light heavyweight, said that he thought that James Degale was done prior to the fight, right? I thought James Degale was done. I thought, well, not completely done. I thought he was a bit jaded. But I still thought that he would have enough to beat Chris Eubank Jr. because Chris Eubank Jr. Hasn't shown me anything. Every time he gets a big fight, he doesn't step up. But he stepped up, and regardless whether it was like people saying, well, James Degale is a past peak fighter and this, that, and all the rest of it, I think it's more to do with the fact that James Degale has fallen out of love with boxing, and whereas Chris Eubank Jr. really wanted the fight, and you could see it in the fight. He was the one that was pushing forward. He was the one that was throwing the more telling shots. He was the one that was putting the more spiteful and hurtful shots and was more determined. Where he would say, like, this is not going to be about boxing skills, because if I stand and box with you, James Degale, I won't be able to deal with you. So I'm gonna have to try and rough you up. But then we have to look at it in its truer complexity of what the fight game really is. We're looking at Chris Eubank Jr. now. We say the #1 super middleweight in the world right now has to be Callum Smith. Could Eubank Jr. beat Callum Smith right now? I don't think he could beat Callum Smith, because really,
I think he could.
You think he could? Well, that's cool. But I'm saying that I would like to see Eubank Jr. go down to middleweight because I think all the other guys he's giving them a size advantage anyway because he's not a big super middleweight.
Yeah, Spence, how you doing? It's Akan. I have a question. I'm good, man. I have a question for you. Nes said earlier that he believed that the Klitschko that fought AJ was a lesser man than Wilder. So my question to you is: do you believe the Klitschko that fought AJ, was a lesser man than Wilder?
No,
so I wanted to ask you.
I disagree.
I
disagree with that.
Do you believe that? Yeah, my question was: do you believe that Klitschko would have beaten Wilder?
Do I believe that Klitschko would have beaten Wilder? Possibly, yes. Possibly.
Okay.
So you're telling me that Tyson Fury outboxes Wladimir Klitschko. They both throw 84 punches. Wilder, on the other hand, does way better than Wladimir. Knocks down Tyson Fury twice. Okay?
All right.
Isn't coming off a 2 years layoff, isn't coming off of a loss to Tyson Fury, isn't coming off of his wife leaving him and signing away her parental rights and having to fucking be a full-time father with his mother. Man, get out of here, bro. No way.
Listen, Nes. This is the thing of opinions, right? That they vary and they don't always have to agree with each other. Doesn't mean that I dislike you. Doesn't mean that I still got love for you guys.
I love you too.
And everything else. But listen to what I'm saying to you. This is what I'm saying. This is going to be my final thing before I got to jump over the call. I got to get my boy from school, right? This is what I'm saying to you is this. I'm going on skills, and also I'm going on what Tyson Fury had a 3-year layoff, had 2 fighters that you wouldn't even employ for sparring, and as far as I'm concerned, beat Deontay Wilder. That's what happened. So he beat Deontay Wilder. Klitschko was up for that fight like no one's business because he knew that things were dependent on it. And I think if Klitschko fought that Deontay Wilder that boxed Tyson Fury, that Klitschko would have beaten that guy. And I think
everybody's sleeping on Dylan White. I think he's going to take over at some point.
Listen, man, my Scottish friend, you know what? You could have listen. People could be sleeping on Dylan White, but I'm not sleeping on Dylan White. I'm a big supporter of Dylan White. And I promise Nes that I'm going to get him on the show. I ain't done it yet. So you know what? As I get off this phone, I get my son from school, and I'm going to phone Dylan White. No, I'm going to do it straight away. I'm going to phone Dylan White. I'm going to do I'll do a WhatsApp conference call with you guys, so then you guys can get him on the show. Because you need Dylan White.
One last question. Anthony Yard said after this fight that he'd be possibly ready for Kovalev next. Do you think that's too fast, too soon, or is it the right time?
No, it's the right time if he believes it's the right time, and if he's training Babatunde Ajayi, who's like one of my closest friends, they think it's the right time. If they think it's the right time, then it's the right time. Right?
All right,
see that when Babatunde Ajayi says dream it, believe it, become it, he's doing it, right? So he's taking a guy from relative obscurity, right, to becoming number 1 in the world, whether he's deserving or not. But if you got that position, you're deserving of it. So I'm going to say to everyone, go grab this thing with 2 hands, man. Life and death is in the tongue. We're all carbon-based. Careful what comes out your mouth. Grab this thing with 2 hands. That's all I got to say. He's ready for it. I'm telling you that now. Well, and lastly, before I jump off, Dylan White and Lawrence Okoli have had some beef over on Instagram.
Yeah. We've seen that.
Right, on Twitter.
Okoli released the sparring.
Right. Put the sparring footage out.
All right, let's get real, yeah? Nes, you could look good in 20 seconds of sparring with Sugar Ray Leonard. And if I filmed that, put that out, did you beat out Sugar Ray Leonard?
No, absolutely not.
Right, exactly. So I'm not going by any of that. But how it goes is I spoke to both guys, right? And like people were turning on me saying, like, I'm trying to antagonize violence between our black brothers and blah. No, I'm not. What I did say, and I was joking, I said, Lawrence Okoli better be careful because Dylan White's crew is kind of serious and you're not dealing with Isaac Chamberlain. Isaac Chamberlain's a really nice guy. Sometimes a lot of people think Isaac Chamberlain is too sweet to be a boxer, right? So that's what I said. And I was joking, right? And I'm getting loads of people. Oh, you can't say that. Then I had Lawrence Okoli's brother, which he's apologizing. His brother Henry saying, "Nah, Spence, you used to be my guy, and I look up to you." And then like you got a big platform and you're saying things like this. I'm saying no, but I'm joking. I was actually joking. Did you not see the smiley face? But in the climate of how things are in Great Britain right now, especially with this gang culture and everything else, maybe I should have chosen my words a bit differently. But I was actually playing. And I wish both guys all the best. I spoke to Dylan for an hour on Sunday morning saying, Dylan, allow the beef, it's not important, right? But Dylan was saying, like, listen, I'll go smash him and all these people by myself. And I understand that because he's emotional. But what I'm trying to say,
Dylan don't look like the kind of guy that play around though.
He's frustrated.
Yeah, he don't like the kind of guy that play around.
And the reason he's frustrated is because he can't get a fight. Because his promoter too busy making him second fiddle to the heavyweight championship of the world.
Yeah, but we know this already, Ness, man. Come on, we know. You're not telling me nothing. You're not preaching to the converted here. We know that's what happened. That's what's happening right now.
He need to walk.
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad. It's really sad.
But listen, Spence, we know you got to pick up your son. Go ahead and do that, brother. It's always a pleasure to have you on.
Ness, lastly, now we got to talk about this. How you making AJ security badge drop?
Yo,
what? Hold on. Whoa. What happened?
You're my guy, man, but you come across like a punk bitch on that video, man. Seriously.
Oh!
I chose to be professional, man. I chose to
Nah. Wait a minute. That's a security guard, right? That's a security guard that you had bad drop. A security guard is secure things. So you got to be your own security guard. You can't have that. That's a madness. You made a security guard throw water on you.
I can't afford to have my credentials
Wait a minute.
How are you going to get your
credentials? Wait one second. How are you going to get your credentials revoked if you had a stern word with someone? Not advocating violence. You took it on yourself to have a stern word with that person.
I couldn't have a stern word with a person who threw water and ran out the curtains behind the
run. He walked away. I've seen the video.
Walked away.
He walked away. Hey, what? Ness, I gotta go get my son, but we're gonna have this conversation because I'm saying that's a punk move, rude boy. That could never happen in London.
Yo,
never.
MTK Global sponsorship.
Set him up for border wars. Hey, yo, tell him, like you said, the streets of London is running rampant right now. We should settle it in the ring.
Nah, brother. All I'm saying, you can't say it in the ring because it's security guard. But
why not? He's a man.
Brother. All I've got to say is this, because you were there with Boxing Blue Blood as well, yeah?
Nah, not there with him. Stop with this. Yo, that's
right,
my man.
No. Seriously, I'm telling you this now. You come across like a punk. I'm just all I'm saying.
Listen, man. Nothing I can do about that, but learn from it.
Oh, okay, you learn from it. So it's okay for someone to squirt water on you and you just hold it down to be a punk.
Yo, it's absolutely not okay. But
right,
I gotta think of, the greater good of the business.
No, brother. No,
Spencer, speaking of the greater good of the business, don't forget to reach out to MTK Global for us.
On social media, then you doing nothing because the general consensus, hey, little man, I just got my son now, right? So I'm saying the general consensus, one second. The general consensus is that, you know what I mean? The boxing voice are punks. That's the general consensus now.
Hold on.
That's okay.
Oh my dog, whoa.
Disgusting.
Nah.
Catch me outside.
Right now.
Nah, it's okay.
And you got to ask yourself, would they have done it to any other reporter? So why would he feel brave enough to do it to you?
Because I get under people's skin. And he was, listen, he had to do that. He had to do that because no other reporter is going to ask the questions that I'm asking.
It's because of that then. I didn't see that shit. Well, I saw the man squirt water on you and walk away.
He reacted off of my questions. He's supposed to be AJ's security guard for Matchroom. I'm interviewing Anthony Joshua about the allegations that Big Baby and Dillian White are making. It's not Nesta Gibbs with the accusations.
Okay, so why did he throw water on you then?
Because he turned around and said, "You have the worst questions. You're horrible." And
so it's okay. So I'm saying it's okay to throw water on someone.
No, it's absolutely not okay.
Okay,
absolutely not okay.
So,
but that's him. That's how he reacted. That's how he reacted. That's how he reacted. Not me.
Okay, right. But he reacted it. But you did nothing about it, bro.
Nah, I chose not
No,
to
but
do
you know,
nothing.
you did. What you did, you was like a school child. You put your hands up. I said, "Oh, sir, Eddie, he threw water on me. He threw water on me, Eddie."
Yeah,
That's punk.
because
That's
that's Eddie's security guard. That man should
No,
be
but-
fired.
So regardless of that, wait, it's Eddie's security guard. Eddie Hearn is still a man of reason. If he was to complain and say, "Right, this man threw water on me," which you did, right? But if you used to complain properly, you're saying you're thinking of the greater good. What we're doing is this. I have noticed this a lot with certain people, right? They compromise who they are because they're saying, "Well, I don't want to ruffle feathers, so I get thrown out of places, and it's got to be bigger than this, and blah 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 blah, and all the rest of it." Yeah, we do not get anywhere by conforming and substituting our own moral pride.
I'm not conforming. I'm
You
allowing
did.
myself. I'm allowing myself to be at every event and continue to apply the pressure that only I apply.
Brother, it's cool. It's cool. But at the same time, someone can throw water on you and you can't do nothing about it.
I mean, it's not up to me. It's not
What
up
do you
to
mean
me.
it's not up to you?
That's
Brother,
not.
let me
That's
tell
not
you
my.
this.
That's not my event.
Alright,
That's not my
alright.
event.
I'm gonna ask you this: if you saw me being somewhere and someone threw water on me, yeah, and you saw it, someone threw water on me, would you say, "Rah, Spencer, that's a bit of a punk. You're a bit of a punk."
Spencer, it's a barrier right there, and cops like right there at the exit, man. Like, what you want this to do?
Mike.
It all depends.
Come on, man. Like, hey, if we outside, like, if we on the street and you throw water on me, then it's a whole other story.
To
We
be
in the
fair,
arena,
to
but
be
man,
fair, there was like 6
Oh,
security
man.
guards that did run up though.
come on, man.
I don't need help. Spencer Fearon has not been in any altercation physically in New York City or anywhere in the United States to talk like that. Me, on the other hand, I have. You will be arrested, Spencer. This isn't a
What?
thing. This isn't a thing where Matt, excuse me, because you're talking without knowing. This isn't a thing about natural. Let me finish, Spencer, so you can listen and understand.
Listen to me.
Oh, now you don't want to hear. Now you don't want to hear.
No, I don't want to hear it. You know why?
Why?
Because you know, I'm just teasing. I'm just
I
like,
hear you, but you still need to understand. It's
All right,
America over here.
Let me understand that.
There was New York City police officers in Madison Square Garden, not just MSG security and not just Matchroom security. Okay, it was a lot more than that.
Yo,
Yeah, you connected to your car.
Ness,
Sorry.
I've lost you, man. Sorry.
I'm gonna jab you, Spence, talking about you lost me.
There we go, man. There you have it. Spencer Fearon, Watergate Part 2.
Hashtag
You know what I'm
Watergate.
saying? But yeah, man.
Coming
Look
for,
here, man.
coming for Ness.
Hey, listen,
Bro,
man. It is
Catch
what
me outside, my dog. Catch me outside.
It
homie.
was,
That's all
it
I'm
was fun
saying.
though. It was fun.
If you tough in here, man, you should be extra tough outside. That's all I'm saying.
Listen, bro. None of these dudes been in no fights in America.
Ain't nobody been in prison. Ain't nobody been in jail. I don't want to hear about shit. If you ain't motherfucking
Hell
dead,
no,
no time. Don't talk to me about shit.
you going straight to Central Book and you throw a punch inside Madison Square Garden.
Yo, if you enjoyed the video, feel free to hit the like, subscribe, and share. As always, if you want to support us to the next level, head over to the patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice. We have tons of exclusive from Border Wars, Untitled, betting shows, the list goes on and on and on. But in addition to that, if you guys have questions for fighters, trainers, and promoters, this is where you can submit them. We will run out, get these questions answered, and put it back on the show just for you guys. Appreciate it. Peace.